Joining me on the program now from Family First, Simon O'Connor. Simon, kia ora, nice to chat with you again.
Oh, and look, always great to be invited back, I have to say, Andrew. So, no, it's good to be here.
Let's jump off with a personal question. Talk to us about your family and invite us into your lounge, if you like. Who's in your family? What's it look like for you?
Oh, well, in terms of my mum, she's unfortunately only become a widow in recent months, but I have
Okay.
an amazing mum. She lives up in Whangarei. She's actually my adopted mum,
Okay.
if there's a little curveball. But she's my mum. She brought me up along with my dad, Rory, and they've just been amazing, amazing people. I'm grateful then, of course, to my birth mother.
Yep.
Never met her. But you know what a choice she made many years ago to let me go, and I'm exceptionally grateful to her for that. And then I'm married to an incredible mother, to Rachel, who's the mother of five,
Mm-hmm.
and we're the foster parents to one. So we have a busy life. But I have
Yeah.
three, if you will, amazing women or mothers in my life. Although, as I say, I haven't met my adoptive mum.
Yeah. I mean, there's an interesting part of the journey as well. For you, growing up, did you always know that you were adopted? Was that a part of your story from early on?
It was. I think the first year, I mean, not that I have recollections, but in the first year there was correspondence between my birth mother and, Colin and Rory, now my parents.
Yep.
But no, my parents, Rory and Colin, never hid it from me. And I have to say, Andrew, and if I was to give any suggestions or advice to people, which of course they can ignore, is I think it's good to be upfront because we were never surprised. I've known too many friends and family who let their teenagers know your teenagers already hate you, and then all of a sudden you tell them, well, you're
Yeah.
not really our kids anyway.
Yeah.
Not a good time.
Yeah.
So start early.
I mean, as you say, credit to your birth mum and for the choices that she made as well along the way. But growing up with two mums, if you like, it would kind of make sense that you'd think, gosh, I wonder what my mum's like. Never had the opportunity to meet her. Wonder what she was thinking during that process. You pray for your birth mum?
Definitely do. I think praying for her and in gratefulness. I suppose for me, I've never thought of two mums insofar as in honouring the parents who brought me up.
Yep.
They are my mum and dad. I've actually not sought out my birth mother. I'm again exceptionally grateful to her, pray for her, and for my birth father.
Yeah.
I know very little of him. There is some rumours he might be Australian, but I'd like to deny this
Yeah.
on air radio. Yeah, for me, it's about honouring Colin and Rory, and now my late father. They're the ones who raised me. But as I keep saying, exceptionally grateful to my birth mother. And yeah, there's a bit of curiosity. My siblings, also adopted, are more curious about their birth parents.
Yeah.
I've just sort of allowed it to be just gratefulness.
Yeah, and finding the grace of God in that situation. Now, families do take different forms, and that brings with it blessings, but also challenges as well as opportunities. For you, as a family, making the decision to also be foster parents, what was that journey like for you, Simon?
Yeah, well, it was fraught at the start. It's something that's been particularly on Rachel's heart. Being adopted myself, my parents early on had foster children, so I was very familiar with it. I've always been conceptually open, but it's been something that Rachel's been very, very keen on. Even after five kids, she still wants to care for more. I was a little bit reluctant at the start, Andrew, because I was in Parliament at the time, and I
Yep.
knew that basically all the pressure would fall on her. But we did the training. It's quite involved. We worked with a group called the Open Home Foundation, which actually has a wonderful Christian basis. And long and short, did all the training to try and understand what these children are going through. And then, particularly post Parliament, we said, okay, we've got more time. And really importantly, I'm physically back at home. So we started what they call respite care,
Yep.
which we were taking a young girl in every second weekend to help the primary carers. But we now have her full time. And it's been a wonderful journey, and she's a wonderful young lady.
And I suppose with the work that you do with Family First, this is really walking the talk in this regard. Family First, but not necessarily people's idea of the traditional nuclear family. I suppose putting the concept of family, of caring for children, whether it's in a fostering situation or opportunities that adoption brings, recognizing the importance of a family as a safe space for nurturing children.
Yeah, look, it is. And I often talk about it as the ideal. The ideal is the biological mum and the biological dad
Yeah.
who raise their children. But, you know, I strike out on 3 counts. I'm an adopted child, we do foster caring, and I'm a step parent.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're not so, if you will, that traditional, but
Yeah.
really importantly, and, you know, those out there who are single mums or a whole, as you say, Andrew, there's an array of different relationships, and I think we can respect that. But here at Family First, and, you know, myself as well would say that there still is the ideal. There still is the ideal. And so deliberately experimenting, if you will, you know, making fatherless or motherless families, that's not the ideal. But we respect that, as I say, there's going to be a whole lot of different families, but we still say, hey, the nuclear family, that traditional family, if you will, the mum and the dad. And that's why something like adoption is amazing, because that's trying to replace or replicate what is.
Yeah.
So for someone like myself, my mum, too young, didn't feel it was right to keep me. I think, you know, my birth father didn't know what to do, but,
Yeah.
you know, they replaced them with my, you know, Colleen and Rory to try and, you know, again, replicate that traditional nuclear family. And I think others might disagree. It's worked out okay.
Well, exactly. And I think there's a wonderful redemption story in this as well. And I mean, the Bible's full of redemption stories of people in their brokenness and God taking that brokenness and saying, you know what, I can take the brokenness and make something beautiful out of that. Even, I mean, for anybody listening to this, there's brokenness within all of our lives and all of our families, but that doesn't stop God working through who we are and redeeming his purposes through it.
Oh, look, 100%. And, you know, without getting too, I don't know, ethically heavy, there is a lot of brokenness in families. We all know it.
Yeah.
As I say, I'm a step parent, which, you know, obviously means that the first relationship for my wife broke down. That's not good.
Yeah.
But God works through that. I suppose the distinction is we don't want to go about trying to break these things deliberately. And those are some of the challenges we face in modern society, deliberately breaking those bonds between a mother and their child or a father and the child. And that's something that we try to avoid. But when it is broken, God redeems, and it's wonderful.
What does Mother's Day look like in your household? I imagine it's a busy place, and just wanting to get a dad's perspective on this. If Mother's Day doesn't go well, is that sort of your fault, Simon? I mean, how does that work out?
So, sort of. I mean, for us, it's a special day. It is to honour Rachel and obviously my mum, although for me it'll be a phone call.
Yeah.
It is to celebrate motherhood because it's amazing. I mean, Rachel in particular, raising the 5 kids now, a foster child, and, you know, some would argue raising me, is just such a wonderful vocation. So what it usually involves is I will have some sort of card and usually gift, but the kids, in inverted commas, because they're older now, their big thing, Andrew, is to go and cook breakfast. So
Wow.
Rachel and I have to remain in the bedroom as we can hear chaos in the kitchen, awaiting what's going to be delivered. But the kids love to do that, and it's just, it's a wonderful, special day.
Well, I do hope that it is a day of blessing for you and yours. Simon, thank you for inviting us into your family and inviting us into your lounge. And I do hope that Mother's Day is a wonderful celebration for you and yours. Of course, encouraging people to find out more and to support the work of Family First. Familyfirst.org.nz is the place to go for more information. Thanks very much for being on the program today.
A pleasure, and happy Mother's Day to all the mums.
Hey, thanks very much for joining us in the Rhema studio. Thanks very much for watching the interview. It's kind of nice to have an audience, actually. And if you did like what you watched, then do give us a like, do give us the thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more interviews like that one, or perhaps even better, subscribe and those interviews will come straight to you. Don't forget to turn on your notifications, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.